Well, I'll say Merry Christmas now, because by the end of this I might be a bit more angry and forget. So Merry Christmas to you all. It might be one where Norwich City fans try and forget about football over the course of the holidays, at least until Boxing Day, of course, when we'll all head to the side bottom in the Championship, Birmingham City, and we'll probably head there nervous, worrying, concerned, angry maybe still, because all of those emotions were swirling around Carrow Road this Friday evening. Norwich City losing 2-0 here at home to Brentford. Lasse Vibe scoring two really neatly worked goals. From a Brentford point of view, from a Norwich point of view, scored against a defence that was all at sea, and a Norwich performance that was horribly out of sorts, to the point of being a mess, really. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a work rate thing, even in the first half, because in pockets they pressed and they worked, but they looked so disjointed. They looked a shambles. I mean they literally almost scored within the first 2 minutes, and I think I used the word shambles in that very first tweet, and it didn't really get much better. And you look at the players and what they're doing, and it did look such a mess. You're wondering why they're playing like that. Actually, apparently, and I wasn't in it myself, but apparently Daniel Farke conceded he overloaded the players with too much information about how Brentford would play, and basically took responsibility for the defeat, which is good of him. It protects his players, but it does pose more questions, as were then subsequently asked, I believe, in terms of his own experience, how big a mistake that is, what happens then in terms of him being able to turn that around. And out of all the times you wouldn't have wanted that to happen, I would suggest the game a day after you start hearing reports circulating of bad vibes in the dressing room and players being unhappy about the training regimes, to coincide that with this performance is pretty shocking, really. And you get a lot of senses of how a club is doing, and all of the noises from this football club at the moment are making it really difficult to see anything positive over the coming weeks, I've got to be honest. And likewise, we're still hearing players talk about not being able to keep up with the top sides and the leaders, and getting left behind. I'm sorry, at the moment, 1 win out of 11, that's not even relegation form. That's just bottom of the division form. Yeah, even the bottom side will win the odd game. So there needs to be a real wake-up call. Having spoken to Christoph Zimmermann, I think he gets that, and he was the one who was given the short straw of speaking to us after that. So I think he said and spoke well in terms of the spirit inside the camp and what needs to happen now. But as much as I'm going to sit here and talk to you about it, and they're going to come out and answer my questions, we just need to see it on the pitch. And Nelson Oliveira, I did actually say they lost 2-0, didn't they? I think it was 2-1. Nelson Oliveira scored in the last few minutes, and really well taken goal. But what does it mean if for the previous 88 minutes you look so horribly disjointed that you don't at any point really look like getting back into the game? Brentford started in, I think, a place above Norwich, very close to them in the table, just above them. They looked a cohesive outfit. Actually, Lasse Vibe said that they were a bit lucky to be 2-0 up at half-time, which I thought was quite generous, but they worked their 2 goals really well. They dug in. They consciously made up for their 5-0 hammering here last season, and they also, real energy, some good players, good young players that we've seen a few times. I'm a big Ryan Woods fan, and again he came out and hassled Pritchard and Maddison repeatedly and didn't really give them a lot of time on the ball. And I have to say, I was a bit worried about those two playing in the same 11 and how that would figure out, and nothing today made me think that that's been worked out yet. They were kind of getting in each other's spaces, and Norwich would occasionally send it out wide hoping Pritchard would do something, when ultimately they needed to play with pace there. Not all about on the pitch either, and so that Brentford, well done, and it will be interesting to see where they finish this season, because they look a much better side than they did last year, and they've got some really nice good players there, I think. But the fractiousness of this game, and we had chance of sack the board and more loudly, I can't remember what it was now, something about basically Delia, get Delia out, whichever it was. real acrimony in the stands. And while there's no answer to those kind of chants and questions, just sums up the place at the moment. It sums up the complete lack of unity and direction. And I'm not blaming anyone. That comes ultimately down to performances on the pitch and results on the pitch, and neither of them are coming. And just I guess the fact that the Norwich supporters are, even the attendance got booed today because they clearly felt it either was a lie, which, you know, again, the attendance is the tickets sold figure. It's not the actual people in the ground. That sums it up. Everyone is heading in different directions if they're not just running into each other in an angry mob. And quite how any football club does well out of that situation, not only that, but survives in that situation, I don't think it happens. So this is a horrible start for a crucial 4 games, and if something much better doesn't happen on the road in the next 2 games, when we come back here for Millwall, it's going to be a lot more ugly than it was today. So there we go. Anyway, that's enough for the football. Thank you for getting this far in the video report. I really appreciate it. Go enjoy your Christmas, forget about football, and I'll see you at St Andrews when God only knows we can possibly see something more positive, because if not, it's going to get pretty sticky. Happy Christmas.